Hello, my name is Trish. Let's start these Australian readings. We're going to look at the energy around the Liberal Party, energy around the Labor Party, and also see if there's anything coming up in the month ahead for Australia that we need to be aware of. What's going to be making headlines next month in Australia? Okay, so first of all, we might start with that one. We'll start with what will be making headlines in Australia in March. Let's just take a look at headlines in the news for March in Australia. We see a situation, either rebellion, uprising, terrorism. We're hearing terrorism on our news in Australia. That's going to be downgraded. So maybe those things will get sorted out. Maybe there will be an uprising first and then it's downgraded to not look as big as what it is. So maybe the people uprise, or maybe there is kind of similar to, because we have in Australia, where currently on our news is issues with the Jewish community and the graffiti on their buildings. Also, there's currently in our news is the 2 nurses that have said some terrible things about Israeli patients and how they would treat them in Australia if they had to treat an Israeli patient, and what they've done to them in the past. They are being looked at. That is causing an uproar, and I feel that this is what I'm talking about here. That is causing an uproar in Australia. It's about we don't really tolerate that in Australia. It's like we're a multicultural place. We have a lot of different communities here, and we don't like to have it needs to be a place where everybody can feel safe. Everybody, all types of people. So we don't really sit well. I don't want to talk my personal opinions either. That's the problem I have with Australian predictions, is that I put my personal opinion in there. So ruling out my personal opinion, just looking at what the cards are saying here, they're talking about a situation that's causing an uprising with the people of Australia, something we're not happy about, and that's going to get downgraded. So it's either going to be sorted out, or it's going to be downgraded so it doesn't form a rebellion or an uprising. They need to get to the bottom of that situation, and that's what we're going to be seeing over March. I do see some positive news for us on our TV screens. It says we might get some positive news, which will be great for us here in Australia. Not sure what that will be, but there's going to be some kind of positive headlines for Australia, so we'll wait and see what that is. Also, we might be hearing on the news about the housing and infrastructure. I feel more pressures around housing and infrastructure. Infrastructure not just of houses being built, but of communities being overpopulated or being behind in infrastructure. So there's issues around bridges or infrastructure or housing building here. We also have something in the news around health matters that will be on our news in March. So either some kind of something we're going to hear with the bird flu, even the H1N1, I think it's called, that might be coming to light in Australia. There might be more issues around that, but we're hearing news around health matters on our TV in March. Now, we also have something to do with environmental toxins become a problem, or there's issues around environmental toxins. Our water. Now, we did hear that on our news last year that there was something with different areas are having very high amounts of toxic chemicals in our water that are banned in America. Not allowed in America, but very high levels here in our water in Australia, and they're allowed. They're said they're within our regulated amounts of levels that we officially, for us here in Australia, are considered safe, although those levels in America are considered unsafe. So here we're seeing more about, and I'm talking about the water because this person's drinking water. So we're talking about issues on the news around environmental toxins, or it could even be like we have pretty good air here in Australia, but it could be, it's probably more likely water because we've got the glasses of water there. Also on the news is something around money, all for money, and it's what the elections are about. It's all about money. So we're going to hear that. We're going to hear about how one party spends money, how one party has spent money in the past, what they want to do. It's all about the economic growth. It's all about our economy, our interest rates, and that's what's going to be on the news in March. More and more of that heading towards the election, all about economy boosts, all about money in our pockets, all about who's going to be best for our country when it comes to our hip pockets. It's all for the money. That's what we're going to be seeing on our news up until the election. Now, trying to get this thing in the control puppet, I just think is trying to get control of this situation that's taking place in Australia right now. So let's take a look at the election. Let's take a look at both sides. Look at the energy of each party currently. Currently at the moment, today's date is the 17th of February. So let's take a look at the current energy for the Australian Labor Party. Currently in rulership here in Australia at the moment. So let's take a look at the Labor Party and the energy around the Labor Party as of February. Of cards, so let's take a look at what we've got. Well-known passing just flicked up and went to the side, so we might be hearing that in our news. We've got a rulership handover on the table. When I'm talking about the Australian Labor Party, we're looking at, and because we're coming into an election, they're either thinking about their handing over rulership, or they're considering that, or they're trying to hide something in case there is a rulership handover, because these cards are sitting side by side and they flicked out together. So hiding something because of their rulership handover that they're concerned about. They're concerned that there's going to be a rulership handover, so they're just kind of hiding things. Consequences, damage done, so they're in damage control. Maybe that's where their head is. They're in damage control around things that have been done, and they're trying to sweep those things under the rug so that there is no handover, I guess. So there's no rulership change. If it looks like these things haven't been done, then they've got a better chance of winning. So here it's saying that they're in damage control around things they're trying to hide. Now, they are also very interested in worldwide events, things that are happening around the globe. Social media here is very important. They've made some policy changes. This administration has made policy changes when it comes to social media, so that may be one of the things that we're hearing about, and it's one of the things that the Australian Labor Party are taking pride in as well, that the changes for social media for people under 16 here is what they're looking at. Now, when we're saying worldwide events, we've also got the drone strike, so maybe the way they respond to that is got a lot to do with the election. We're talking about the Labor Party, so maybe it's how they handle situations going on in other places, may be related to their party and the likelihood their party will be re-elected. So many people, though, this is the problem, so many people have been affected by the current government. This is what this card is. You can see this is a politician card. It's a political person. Here we're seeing a lot of maybe even money that's issues with money, but it's affected financially, economically, so many people, and that's where that's the energy around the Australian Labor Party as of February. So let's take a look at the Australian Liberal Party. In the Australian Liberal Party, the energy around them currently at the moment. Now, they're looking at advances, that they're talking about solutions that they have. So they're discussing how they can advance through certain issues that we're having in Australia and what their solution to the problem is. So that's where they're focused on. That's their focus. Their intention is taking the current problems in Australia and making their campaign be about what are the solution to those problems. Whether they do them or not is another thing. They are, after all, politicians, but that's where their energy is focused here. Now, and I have a bit of a distrust of all politicians. So I'd like to see a politician that delivers on their word, that is honest about their campaign and then delivers. I would love to see that. And hopefully we do get to see that. Here, there's an issue with the current, with the Liberal Party. concerns around toxic masculinity with the Liberal Party. So whether that's the people feeling there may be energy around toxic masculinity with the leader of the Liberal Party, or whether there is actually toxicity within that party, masculine toxicity within that actual party, I don't know, but it's on the table, so that it is one of those things. Now, uprising or rebellion, this could be one of the problems that they're looking to address. So looking to address crime or issues around terrorism when it comes to the people of Israel or the different communities that we have living in Australia. So maybe that's one of the problems they're looking to offer solutions for here. Over here, big news all about the money, of course. As I said, with the last Labor Party spread, we got all for the money, or I think it might have even been the first spread. This is what we're going to be seeing on our news. Now, up to the elections, it's all about the money. It's all about the economic change, the economic crisis, how it's affected the people of Australia, and which party is going to represent the party that is best for our hip pockets. It's all about the money. It's all about how we are going to be better off with whichever party. So what they're offering, what solutions they have for us economically, and big news around that. So that's going to be a big announcement maybe about what they see will be a solution to our economic crisis here in Australia. Environmental toxins is another one on the table again, and sitting next to the volcanoes or the mountains. Now, we don't have volcanoes here. We have some off the coast in the ocean. I'm not really aware of any other volcanoes in Australia. I could be wrong. I've just never looked. But I do know that there's a few off the coast of Australia. But we've got something around volcanoes and mountains and environmental toxins. So interesting. I don't know what that is, but we'll see if anything comes up on the news over March. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I was able to keep my personal opinion out of that as much as I could when it comes to Australia, but we'll see how that goes.